speaking, but then you sounded garbled.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think, Sasha, when you're the one speaking, you see the moderator instead of yourself.
Oh, I don't see that. So then it's an issue with my computer. That's okay.
But you can change it
Oh,
yourself when
Oh,
you
click on
you
the
you might
person.
have yeah, you might have clicked on Edwin and then the white box came up around him, so it stays on Edwin.
So how can I get away with a white box? Is there a way?
click on it a second time. It's a toggle, so you click on and off.
Ah, okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
You were looking, just seeing me all the time.
I don't mind that, Edwin, but
Edwin, now when I see you, it's just your profile kind of.
Yeah, I turned off my camera. Just I thought maybe that would help. So,
Oh, because of the sound issue.
yeah, like you're totally clear.
Now you're
I
back.
don't know what. Yeah, I just turned it on again.
Can I just interrupt for a second and ask Edwin how your partner is doing, please?
Yeah, thanks. She had actually.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I moved to another computer. Just let me. I'll be back.
maybe we use the time to go on with introduction rounds. Raj, you wanted to have a go at it, isn't it?
I did. I was saying I'm a nonviolent communication trainer and facilitator. I offer workshops and coachings and mediation and love living the practice of compassion. And I live in British Columbia, Canada.
Wonderful. But that was only 10 seconds, Raj.
I know, because I'm in a hurry to hear from other people.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, about empathy and self-empathy, I think I said earlier that I resonated with the comments made about empathy and self-empathy. Helping other people be heard and understood is one aspect, but understanding myself, noticing how I'm judging myself or comparing myself to others, noticing that and offering myself compassion is an important part of a foundational for me, a foundational part of the practice. If I'm in self-judgment but being very kind to you, then my practice is quite incomplete.
Hmm.
How to value myself just as much as I value others. I care about you and I care about myself. Thank you
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Herbert, you have not introduced yourself.
Okay. My name is Herbert Habel. I'm based in Berlin. I know Edwin quite a while, and in Germany, some years ago I found out that two things. Number one, everyone can learn how to foster, strengthen his empathy skills. This was a surprise for me. I thought it's a talent, but you can learn empathy. And secondly, to learn it, it needs an interdisciplinary approach. Now, I looked out for a company or persons who are working like that, but I couldn't find it, so I founded it. So I'm the founder of, the German name is Akademie für Empathie, or in English, Academy for Empathy. And so I'm very happy to be in a team of 10 persons right now. One of them is Sasha. Hi. So Sasha, myself, and 8 others, we are working together on creating trainings and coachings and methods to improve both self-empathy, empathy for each other, and also organizational empathy. My main target group for that are business persons, so the business customer and the organizations in the economy are my main focus. So maybe this in brief.
Thank you, Herbert.
Welcome.
Hi,
So I
Edwin.
just want to do a test. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
And how about Salvador? Are we hearing him? We seem to have lost him.
Yeah, he's locked
Yeah.
off.
I'm going to just turn off. I'm on a lap trying to.
Okay, Parth says that Salvador is
Are
restarting.
we still going?
There's Salvador.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Ah, good. I'm
Nice
glad.
to meet you finally. Salvador and I have shared a path with focusing and empathy for many years, but never met in person.
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, hi. So I don't mean to interrupt. Just
It's your turn to introduce yourself, Salvador.
okay. Well, I'm Salvador. I live in Zapopan, near Guadalajara, in Mexico. I am retired recently, so I'm trying to enjoy this new way of life. But since I was studying psychology, I got very interested in empathy because I have very important experiences in my psychotherapy process. Then, when I started teaching at the university, training psychotherapists, I found out that that was one of the main difficulties that I found, how to be able to feel and sense what other people's were feeling. So I have many years trying to find out different ways to learn to be more empathic. Myself, to teach to students to be empathic. When I learned about the focusing and Gandalf's theory, I found some very interesting theoretical references and ways to approach the learning of empathy. So now I keep doing workshops to promote and to help other people to become more empathic.
Thank you very much, Salvador.
And Salvador, have you been at a university?
Yes, I have worked at the university in Iberoamericana University in Mexico City, ITESO University in Guadalajara, and Universidad Iberoamericana in León. I have worked in some master's program training psychotherapists.
Okay, and I think you've written some books as well.
Yes.
You've been quite a light for me for many years in your consistent work in teaching both focusing and empathy in universities, because that's been a harder struggle in the United States to really establish these as part of professional training universities. So, great.
Yeah.
I guess we lost Edwin, but he's the only one left to introduce himself. Although we probably all know Edwin.
Have we really lost Edwin?
Oh boy.
He'll find a way.
Maybe.
Oh, okay. Here in the side panel, Nupur has introduced herself.
Ah.
So we can read that.
Yeah.
Shall I read it out loud, or what does our...
Yeah, why don't you do that? That
okay, Kathy, here is my introduction. Hello, everyone. Very excited to meet you all. My name is Nupur Jan. Someone can help me with pronunciation. And I work for the University of Massachusetts, Amherst, as an associate mental health clinician. My primary interest is in outreach programs and work extensively on resilience building programs for college students. We also do a lot of bystander intervention trainings for violence prevention. I am eclectic in my treatment approach, and Rogerian therapy is very well infused in my work. I am here to learn resources so I can continue to develop. Also, as a side note, I have to excuse myself and leave at 2 p.m., which would be Boston time, would be 11 p.m. a.m. this time. But I'm thankful for the opportunity to observe and be introduced to people doing such work in cultivating empathy. So glad to meet you, Nupur, and hopefully you can sign up to be a speaker in another one. If you were staying, Edwin, can you let these people in? We have 2 viewers. Nupur.
There's a limit of 10 people per call.
Edwin, can you turn your video off again? I think that helps to make your audio clearer.
I think if you admitted them, we would have 10 people. I don't know how people feel, whether they should just stay as a...
No, it would be wonderful if Nupur and
Parth.
would be admitted. I mean, why have viewers, right? If they can participate.
Edwin, what do you think? They're introducing themselves over in the sidebar in the chat. They've been here from the beginning. Do you want to admit them, or
they are here. They just their audio is turned off.
Yes. Can you get them in?
If they turn on their audio, it should work.
So I think what Edwin is saying that Nupur and Parth, you can turn on your video camera and your microphone up at the top of the screen. If you bring your mouse up to the top of the video screen, you can see the camera and the microphone, and by clicking it, it should bring you into the video conference. Oh. Now, Parth, yours just came up with a camera with a line through it, so clearly that didn't work. That's my best suggestion.
Edwin, we can hardly understand you now.
I just turned off my camera. Hopefully that makes it better.
Good enough, but not great.
Okay. Well, one thing I'm thinking is going forward, maybe we can meet weekly, so we only have less people per call. I think one problem is maybe having 10 people. Maybe we can have, if we meet every week, we can have 5 people or so, and I think that would probably make it a little bit easier. What do you think about that?
I'm not sure if the problem we're having is a technical issue because there's so many people on, or if that just the people who are having issues maybe are just having issues with their connection.
I think if people are just having issues, it shouldn't be an issue having 10 people on a call. I mean, it doesn't really change the bandwidth requirements on each of our parts, doesn't it? It's just bad luck for us today.
I'm a little concerned if the groups are as small as 5 that we'll never do that organizing that we're trying to do, and people expressed at the beginning, Edwin, when you weren't here, wanting to move in a task way and not constantly being introducing ourselves. I personally might go back to the 3-hour structure because that did give us time to combine more empathic sharing about the task as well as doing some of the human design. So I don't know. I don't know if we want to have a decision-making meeting now either. Someone else take over. Edwin.
Oh, you were doing such a nice job. I was going to say, great, I can hear you clearly. Your video is great. Yeah, maybe you can just kind of lead us.
I think we were having some good shared leadership here.
Okay.
What do you want to...
Kathy, I think you got the baton. So no.
All right, so I'm looking at the time, and it's we still have quite a bit of time left, and we have introduced each other, and we've heard a little bit about Nupur and Parth in the sidebar, and they're going to sign up for future meetings. So now we're all together as a group. We've got Salvador's sound back. Edwin's sound is a little shaky. One thing to do would be for people to sign on earlier so that they could get their technical issues worked out before the beginning of the meeting. That might be something. Anyway, okay, we've introduced. Shall we proceed with maybe 5-minute interviews on what people see as the next steps for structuring the association, or
I like that.
is 5 minutes too long? There are 8 of us. We have time for another 5 minutes if people are okay with that.
I'm good with it.
And the general question is, what do you see as next steps for the association? And people can modify that, but I guess we'll take turns being the interviewer and the interviewee. So we need, and I'll try to take notes, but others can do that as well. So we need a volunteer to go first as the... In fact, Sasha, why don't you, if this task is okay with people, Sasha, if you would take back the task of choosing the interviewer and the interviewee, moderating that, then I can go take notes. I can't take notes and moderate at the same time, and I thought you were doing a great job.
Well, thank you. So I be the timekeeper, right?
Yes, timekeeper, and try to choose one interviewer, one interviewee, and move along.
Well, unfortunately, we have a bit of a dilemma that not everybody has a voice due to technical issues. Now it's Edwin. Can you be interviewed? Hardly, right?
It sounds like my audio is a little problematic for you.
Mm-hmm. Maybe if I can pair Stefan, would you like to interview Michael?
Yeah, no problem.
Wonderful. Then the next 5 minutes will be you can grill Michael to the best of your abilities on the topic of...
Okay, Edwin, it looks like you're taking notes. You can do that, but I said I would take notes as well.
I was just kind of setting it up, but there, I just got it ready. I can support you.
Okay.
Okay, Michael, I want to go with the question here we had in the document. It's what does an ideal IETA look like for you? What you wish like it to be?
I guess I see the role of the association, perhaps maybe the main role of the association, is to establish a sort of baseline understanding of what empathy is and how we can teach it and learn it. And then within that context, I would also say part of what we want to do is maybe I'm a little bit hesitant about like certifications and things like that, but I wonder, I'm curious about the question about creating a standard.
Okay, a kind of benchmark for people to to use and to
recognize people who have developed skills in empathy.
Mm-hmm. And what's your biggest gain? What would you wish for? Like what you most gain from it?
I think personally. Personally, I think that would help to establish more credibility in the empathy realm. I think empathy is a pretty vague concept out there right now, and there's a lot of competing disciplines who are striving to define it in the context that's most useful for their purposes. And so I'm interested in kind of the people who are devoted to the practice of empathy. How do we really measure? You know, like, I don't want to get too left brain about this, but I think credibility comes through some kind of measurement, through some kind of qualification of some kind. And so I think part of what the association, the role of the association might be, is to help to establish what is that? How does that work in the empathy world?
Okay, so clarity. I hear clarity is for you is important for you. So you can, yeah, you can, yeah. Why is clarity important for you?
For credibility.
Okay.
I think empathy needs more credibility in the world. I think empathy will spread more readily around the world as it builds credibility, and I think empathy needs to build up its street cred, and its academic credibility, and its scientific credibility.
Okay, and you hope to not to gain, and you hope to participate in that as well for your own work. So if empathy and the association have credibility and there's a more clarity around it, so you can take that on in your work as well.
Yeah, and I think empathy should be a major profession. I think in order to see the changes we want to see in the world, I think we need to be training empathy. We need lots and lots and lots of empathy trainers. This needs to become a profession in and of itself. I think that as we start to look at the development of empathy in terms of the biosphere consciousness, in terms of distributed economies, in terms of globalization, in terms of the implications of the internet, I think empathy itself is key to the successful survival of humanity and our biosphere. And I think that it needs to grow in all these areas, in science, and not like, I mean, yes, it's important that it's part of the field of psychology, but we need to start breaking down the silos and recognizing how essential it is throughout all the interdisciplinary focuses that are going to be necessary for the continued survival of humanity.
Okay, what would you think? What would be a next decisive step, or what could be a next step for us then to do that?
I hear the beeper going, so just really quickly.
Please answer.
Yeah, thanks, Sasha. I think a next step is, I think we need a shared vision. I think we need to create a vision that we're working for collectively and collaboratively.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very much, Michael.
Stefan. Yeah.
So, Michael, well, we always did it like the person who got interviewed can choose now the next person you want to interview.
Okay. Salvador, can I interview you?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I'm curious why the association is important for you.
For me, the association is important because I look for a place where I can meet people interested in empathy in a practical way, not only in psychotherapy, but also in community work, everyday life, helping professions in general. So I would like to share and discuss the way we understand empathy, how we work, what kind of activities and programs we do, trying to help other people to be more empathic. How can we evaluate the effectiveness of those programs? How to share resources, ways of training, references. And I would like to do this also also in Spanish. That's a very important issue for me.
Cool. Great. So for you, it's a lot about connecting with peers and learning ways, new and different ways that you can teach empathy, and
Yes.
especially in having resources in Spanish.
Yes. And sharing what we are doing, what we do, what we write, the experiences that we have.
Awesome. Great. So part of what you're doing is sort of taking a model, like what we're creating, and then wanting to use what you're learning from this model to apply it to Spanish-speaking people.
Yes, I don't know if that would be something different. It could be related to this international association.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think it is important that the possibility to speak in Spanish is open for many people. Speaking English is difficult, so that's what I am interested in
Cool.
trying to clean this place.
Creating environments where people who are interested in empathy can gather to discuss and share and explore, like we're doing here.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Great. And so what do you think the next steps are in creating this association?
I agree with the shared vision, and also I think that maybe if we could say something about what I can share in the association, what can I give to the association, to the other people, as a way to know the resources that could be available for the association and the people who are interested in participating.
Great. So a way of understanding what are the resources that we have as a community.
Yes.
To contribute. Great. And do you have any ideas around how to collect that kind of information?
No, not yet. I haven't thought much about that. But maybe we could have a website where we could send documents, a different type of documents like programs, activities, evaluations. I heard Edwin last meeting talking about a group who is collecting references in academic settings. I think it could be also done from other settings, non-academic settings, who are in some way working with programs on empathy. But I mean, I haven't thought too much about that.
Great, but obviously for you, a really important part is being able to have resources, being able to share resources among the community, share the tools that you have, but also be able to learn from other people around what they're doing, how they're teaching empathy.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Yeah, I'm really getting, Salvador, for you. It's like you love learning about this stuff. You love teaching this stuff, and this is a way for you to become better, to have more things to share with people who want to learn from you.
Yes, I enjoy this very much, and I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I have had to learn this. So I would like to share this also with other people.
Great, thank you, Salvador.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Salvador. Now it's your turn to choose somebody to interview.
What about Kathy?
Okay. Edwin, will you take over taking notes?
My connection is so. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you very well.
Oh, yeah. My connection is so bad that I can't use the note taking. So if someone else can take notes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
someone else was already in that Google document. Was it Stefan? Is there someone else who could take messages take notes in the Google document while I talk and then interview?
Sure, I can do that. Or somebody else more able to write with a lot of fingers.
Yes, since you're already doing a job moderating us, somebody was in there typing, entered his own information. Who was that?
I was it, but I did it before the meeting, and now my connection, I can't do both.
Okay.
I can't. So
all right. Well, I'll take notes later. I'll remember. I'll take notes. I'll talk.
Absolutely no issues. I can watch the timer and
Okay.
do some typing while you talk.
Okay.
That's not a thing.
All right. So I'm to be interviewed by Salvador. I'm thrilled again because we've had this cyberspace connection for years. So yes, Salvador.
Hey, Kathy, would you tell us what do you think about the next steps for the association?
Okay. I agree that I want there to be some task-oriented structure that comes out of these meetings that we're having so that I do feel like we're building. And the best I know about that now is to take notes. So maybe we keep having meetings and taking notes, but then I would imagine that Edwin would organize maybe some kind of an all-day human design workshop where we would have looked at those who want to participate would have looked at all these notes ahead of time, drawn up some kind of lists of wants and needs, which I think is a first step in the human design process, and then would move forward using that process, which does end up with testable prototypes. So I don't want to throw that method out, and I see these notes as raw material. Even though the same people aren't at every meeting, the notes would identify everybody, and we could draw together. So I see that. I also I would be interested in workshops trying to come up with a common definition of empathy, but I'm not so in favor of trying to do that. I think it might be impossible, and I would like us to respect our diversity in some way that also allows us to collaborate. So I have a question about that. I also am leery of this becoming a certifying agency because, again, I think we'll never agree. I know the International Association for Focusing Oriented Therapy lets certification and licensing happen by people's individual organizations, like becoming a licensed social worker, a licensed clinical psychologist, or, for instance, Edwin offering an empathy trainer's certification and Raj offering an NVC certification. I would rather keep those certifications happening outside and recommend that clients take responsibility for checking out the credibility of people. Again, we need some standard, yes, but I just think we could argue forever and try to control each other. So I'm going to stop there.
So for you, one thing that is very important is to be task-oriented with a structure.
Mm-hmm.
The notes could be a very good way to give a continuation to
yes.
Because everybody can read the notes and make comments about that.
Yes.
You would like to keep more like a diversity about the definition of empathy, more than trying to have just one definition, just to respect the diversity of points of view.
Yes.
And you are in favor of having some standards, but you don't have a certification agency within the association.
Yes, great listening, and your voice is breaking up a little again. Not impossible, but a little breaking up. I also would love to see a website or some place where we could all share our curricula or what we have. I would like to see some collaborative projects evolve. I have met so many people interested in teaching empathy and self-empathy in schools at all levels. I'd like to draw those people together or have them draw together and collaborate so they can use their resources for the best impact. The same with people bringing empathy skills to people in high school or college. We have numerous people I've met who are doing that, and I'd like them all to meet each other somehow.
So somehow to have a website where we can share information and resources and to promote the collaborative projects, mainly in the school setting on different levels.
Yes, and I'm probably running out of time, but also the International Association of Focusing Oriented Therapists does allow each person to have a page where they can advertise themselves or say who they are and what they offer. And if we need money to help manage this website, we could maybe charge some amount of money for that listing. I think Edwin's already kind of trying to do that by listing our introductions, but I think that is a valid thing to have on a website for the association, is people listing themselves. Okay. I'm sure my time is up.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. So nice to be listened to by you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathy. Now it's your turn to select somebody.
Okay. So I guess I will do, I'll do Raj. Is that okay, Raj?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you just take a minute to just sense into what you would like to say most, or proceed however you like. I shouldn't give you focusing instructions. It's just a habit.
Go ahead, give me instructions, Kathy. I like
well, just to take a moment to check in inside with what you would say, most want to say about the next steps for the organization or what the organization means for you.
Well, I think hearing some of the comments, I'm really appreciating that embracing diversity rather than trying to create a very narrow definition of what empathy is. That might be a real challenge for us, and embracing the diversity of how people relate to the word empathy. And there's not enough clarity or a complete understanding of what the word empathy is. It's not that people don't know what empathy is. Sometimes it's confused that empathy is too soft. Oh, we can't have too much empathy. Work won't get done and things like that. So that was one aspect of it, is that there are multiple examples and experiences of empathy. The second one is that the association isn't a place for certification or credentials. It's a place for credible, established professionals to collectively have a voice. To collectively have a voice, so that if there is a situation that occurs somewhere, they'll say, you know what, we can find a speaker at this association to talk about this subject right now. You know, so that we're called upon to give a perspective. So we're called upon to say, what does the empathy world think about this? So that we can introduce some best practices. You know, it is about best practices. It's not about rules or standards. It's about, here are the best practices that will encourage us to look at our behavior, look at our language, and start initiating this kind of best practices in school. You know, they're not just rules to be taught. They're practices to be embraced.
May I stop you and just say back so I can stay with you?
You know, I was just wanting us to have that kind of tonality to this association.
Yes. So you also like to respect the diversity of approaches and not try for too narrow of a definition of empathy, but at the same time you do think there is value in clarifying what we mean. So some way to balance those two things. And you think that if we could come together in that more credible way, we would have enough definitions that these problems of people saying there's too much empathy or this or that, we would have a response to that. You're not into this being the association being a place for giving out credentials. You see it as a place for people with established professional credentials to come together and have a voice. And you can see us then being able to use our resources effectively. And I really liked your example that if someone would call the association and say, I want a speaker on empathy, that we would know who that could be and we could tap into that resource and we could make that happen through our collaborative effort. I think that's very exciting. You would like us to see, you'd like to see us collecting best practices, not rules, but what really works, and get those in the schools and everywhere else.
Thank
go
you.
Ahead.
You got all that, and then that's what all I said.
It was wonderful what you said. And say more until Sasha stops you. You want to say more?
Well, no, I think that for me it's about credibility, it's about visibility, it's about consistency, and not a flash in the pan, now I'm here and then I'm gone, you know. It's that whole thing about consistent, visible, credible, you know, all of those things really give people an idea that, and this is something that's not just a flavor of the month. This is here to stay. This is a way to live life.
All right. So again, consistency, that's what the association can bring.
Yeah.
Consistency, visibility, credibility, not a flash in the pan. Empathy is something here. We are going to train it for life.
Yeah.
It's an association.
And we have associates.
And we have many associates who can be tapped to do many things.
Yes. Thank
Which
you.
maybe makes it sound like there has to be some kind of a director on call to field these phone calls or things, but that's to be dealt with.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kathy and Raj. Now, Raj, it's your part to choose a interviewee.
I will pick Sasha. I'll pick you.
Myself. Okay.
Is that going to work for you?
Of course, of course.
Right. Okay. Well, being that I don't know much about you, this is the first time I'm meeting you. I'd be very curious to see what you know, what is interesting and exciting for you in the world of empathy.
Well, empathy is really something that has, well, I for a very long time I have dealt with empathy, and well, empathy has been very important for me for a very long time due to family reasons, where I had to be very empathic to treat sick family members, and later on, when I lived as a monk, I was also doing community work, and I always spent a lot of time listening to people I could not possibly help at all. They came to me with all kinds of problems, and the only thing I could do to help these people was simply listen, and be empathic, and be compassionate, and that.
Hey, your
really
voice has all of a sudden gotten static. Anybody else having that same problem?
Okay, well,
I was hearing you fine, Sasha.
Anybody else?
I hear him fine.
I can hear him.
You can hear him fine? Okay, that's better. Go ahead.
So that compassionate, empathic listening, I learned about the importance of that, and I myself was always glad to receive that kind of gift. And then later on, when I started to work as a trainer and coach, I kind of professionalized that. I took it away from the monastic scenario into the professional world when I became a professional and stopped being a monk. And then a couple of years ago, I decided, not a couple of years, some time ago, I decided to go to write my PhD thesis, and I was thinking about which topic does interest me the most. And I've done a lot of communication trainings, and the thing with communication, it really works best when both parties are empathic. So my idea was to write my thesis about empathy and really do a lot more empathy trainings, as that is a core of communication, the core of successful coexistence, of living together, working together, loving together. That really is empathy for me.
Mm. So shifting it from being in a monastery, listening and listening to people, sounds like it sometimes you wondered if you were making any difference because all you were doing was listening. And I imagine they really felt heard.
Oh, they did, and I really felt I got. Sometimes people told me incredible sad stories. One time, a young Kurd from Kurdistan, he told me how his whole family was being attacked by Saddam Hussein with this kind of gas, and I felt I had such an empathic moment in that moment because I felt his pain to be my pain, and that was really one part of empathy for me.
Mm. It became like a human pain rather than his pain, as a human
Yes.
being, a human pain. And as you have these different experiences, how do you believe an association would support us in creating that more of a human experience?
Well, the association can help us to, first of all, create a momentum, create a movement, create, get together different people from all parts of the world, pool all the different approaches. I also do a lot of cross-cultural trainings and have learned that many people from many parts of the world have a very different outlook on the basic human needs and practices. So having an international association is really very important because we are tackling a human condition here, a human problem, and there is no one way to do that. There's only an international way to do that. So we have to have empathy trainers from all parts of the world, from the west, from the east, from the south and the north, and to be able to pool all these different emotions, ways of dealing with emotions together.
Mm-hmm. Because there is cultural impact on whether how we display emotions or express emotions is what I'm
Yes,
hearing.
Raj, exactly. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. That's an important aspect about cultural beliefs about emotions.
Thank you very much, Raj.
You're welcome.
So it's my turn now. Stefan, can I interview you?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. So Stefan, what do you think you can accomplish? What do you think you can personally achieve with this association? What would be your personal gain in joining this association and being part of it?
At the moment, I'm thinking and I'm hoping that I can set up and facilitate some sort of regular meeting or place to go for people and do some empathy do an empathy training or empathy, what would you say, skills, or train little tasks, and I hope to get more resources or get resources to do that, to have something some kind of recipe to facilitate something like that. I'm not a coach, I'm not a trainer, but I just want a meetup for people, which I'd be happy to facilitate, but for people to come and train with each other to learn empathy, or learning to be empathic and feel what it feels like.
Anybody else having trouble hearing him?
I think I gleaned a couple of informations. Maybe I can reflect that, Stefan, and you correct me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
You also might want to try turning your bandwidth down a little bit for your video, Stefan, up at the top of the screen. That might help to make your audio better.
Hold on, I'll actually put my, okay.
Okay, Stefan, what I understood was that you personally would like to, well, you think that the Association for Empathy Trainers can help you to facilitate empathy meetings, right? And can provide you some tools to actually teach people how to be more empathic. And I sense that you're very enthusiastic about empathy and teaching empathy, and with the International Association of Empathy Trainers, you want to be inspired how to train empathy, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And how do you have any idea how the International Association, how this association can do that for you? How we can together form a society that can actually do that for you?
Yeah, I hope it's a place to be where I can get in contact, either get in contact with people, or maybe there's some sort of online resources for such a meeting. And I kind of have the idea of, like, yeah, once such meetings start, they could spread like meetups spread internationally. So it's a common form that there would be, like, yeah, empathy meetups where no trainer, or not particular coaches or groups, but yeah, lay people go and train with each other, and yeah, have the experience of empathic listening and focusing and yeah, talking to each other.
Okay. And now, in a task-oriented, practical way, what would you think the next step should be? How would you envision the next steps?
Yeah, I kind of hope that at some stage there is some sort of yeah, resource building, and either online or on the website, or somebody collecting best practices and that I can tap into, or yeah, something like that.
Okay. Thank you very much. And what is this that yourself is driving toward empathy, apart from nonviolent communication?
Yeah, I experience in NVC what's possible, and what I was frustrated with was to have those experiences in the trainings, but not in daily life. And I want to have it in daily life. I want to have it around me, even with people who are not needing to do or know about NVC. And yeah, to bring it into my daily life without having to have the language of NVC or any other connections with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Stefan.
Thanks.
Now it's your turn to interview somebody.
I think I was already. I already interviewed Michael. I was the first,
all right. We did a complete round now. Oh, Edwin. Somebody has to interview Edwin.
Yeah. Oops. I don't know if my audio is working. Is it?
You're sounding much better to me.
Okay, great. So who hasn't been interviewed yet here?
You.
Oh, me. Or does somebody want to interview me then? Kathy.
Me interview you? Okay, I'll do it. Someone can take notes if they like or whatever.
Sure, I
All
can
right.
give it a try.
Edwin, what do you see as the next steps for IETA, or whatever version of that question you would like to answer?
Yeah, I really liked what you were saying about tasks. Because you're talking about tasks. I've been doing a lot of tasks, folks. I've created the website. I've been setting up these meetings. I've been organizing, all this kind of stuff. So I'm into tasks. I really like tasks. So I'm trying to see how can we, work together on tasks to kind of do specific projects. So I've got like all kinds of projects in the works that members can become part of. One is the Empathy Trainers Literature Review Project. This is a more academic approach where we're going through all the empathy training literature. And we have a website for that, so we're going through all the papers and organizing them, and it's a really cool project that comes from the academic realm, so anybody is welcome to join that project. There's just starting up a program with that group Live Different. I don't know if you saw the video from them. They're a group in Canada that does these what do you call it, like inspirational talks in schools. They go to 300 schools a year, and they give these inspirational talks. All the students come into an auditorium, and they have music and inspirational speeches and stuff to have the students think more about caring. And they have taken on the project. They've seen that empathy is like what they want to focus on this year. So they want to go into all their schools. They did that promo video, which I sent to the list. I hope you saw it because it's very inspirational, I feel. And so I want to set up a series of design meetings, doing the mini design, where we get a group together and we will design an empathic culture for schools. And the first group is already full with the Live Different folks, and so anyway, that's another project people can get involved in. I would like to have a whole series of these and see if we can't get some kind of funding for it too. Can we offer kind of this training for educators? So that's another task, another project. Brings in all the human-centered design process. The person who's going to be here, Helen Grace, she's a student at the Clinton School of Public Policy in Arkansas, and she actually is developing a curriculum for a school there, an empathy curriculum. So she's part of this project. So it'd be great to have other trainers be involved in that. We also, Sasha and Dorothy and I are working on a project for building a curriculum. So we're creating a 12-lesson curriculum, and we've been discussing that and creating individual lessons. We come together and share. And we're also looking at creating a paper on relational empathy. Like there's empathy kind of from an individualistic realm, like a therapist may be empathizing with a client, a parent is supposed to empathize with the child, teacher is supposed to empathize with the student. But to think in terms of empathy in the relational systemic way, which is kind of like what an empathy circle does. So that's another project we're writing. Want to write an actual paper or white paper on that. So those are just a list of tasks that are in the works. So it's kind of like, can everybody come up with some ideas and let's form some teams and start doing it.
So would you like me to now spend some of your time by saying that back?
Yeah, just the essence of it.
Okay.
Great.
So you started off by just saying, tasks? I've got tasks. I've been doing tasks, many tasks for a long time, and I'd be happy to have people join me in doing tasks. Then you listed some of the tasks. One is the Empathy Literature Review, which is more of an academic project, and you have meetings, and anybody can join that to gather together the papers and analyze them or process them in some way. Then there's this new exciting project with these people called Living Differently from Canada. And they go to 300 schools a year, and they give inspirational speeches, and they've decided that this is the year they're going to focus on empathy. They made a really inspirational video that we can all watch. You've put it online. And you're going to have a series of human design meetings with them and with any of us that want to join those meetings, and it's about how to build an empathic culture in schools. And Helen Race from the Clinton School is also developing a curriculum for schools. So that's a whole project, and I know many of us have expressed an interest in bringing empathy into schools. So if we make sure everybody hears about that and gets gathered into it. And then thirdly, you and Sasha and Dorothy are working on an actual 12-session curriculum, and you're using the human design process. And you've decided you want to write a paper on relational empathy, not just one-way empathy like a therapist to a client or a parent to a child, but how do we do this in a all-the-time relational back and forth culture of two-way empathy, everybody giving and getting empathy.
Yeah, a whole culture of empathy, a whole group of empathy, thinking in those terms of systemic empathy.
Mm-hmm. Making empathy systemic. How do you do that? Mm-hmm. Anything else? And Sasha's keeping time.
Yeah, I heard the beeper go off. Yeah, so I guess the question is really how do we create those tasks that you're talking about? Because that really resonated with me. So how might we create a kind of a task-oriented group, and what sort of tasks do people want to do?
What comes in me, I don't know if you're asking for response, and I see our 11:30 time is coming up. I would like to be part of a group making their task building the association. I loved your tasks, but they aren't that overarching, and I'm concerned, I really want that overarching association. And I think it could happen pretty simply if we don't think we have to agree on a definition, and we don't have to have credentials. We just need like a website and a place where people can list each other. And Edwin, you already have a kind of sample website for an association with a beautiful quote about empathy that's pretty broad. Anyway, maybe I would focus on that task somehow. Not lose sight. We need that. Not to get off on all these other things. We need that collaborating spot. That's me. Anybody else? Anybody else respond to Edwin's tasks?
In terms of tasks, I resonated with the creating an empathy curriculum. I don't know. That may evolve into being part of building the association as a resource that might go on the website, but in terms of task-oriented things, I'm interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I also think that building the association is a task in itself, and that we should not really underestimate what we're doing right now and getting to know each other and spreading the word. And I mean, maybe it's even a little too early for the association to go into task mode as yet, because it's still, I can see it's still in a process of forming. And I think if we continue with these meetings for a couple of times, we will see that a core team is forming. And once we have seen that formation of a core team of people who want to dedicate themselves to the task of an empathy association, then we can actually get to work and start working. And at the same time, people who are becoming restless and would like to do something now, well, we are already making that curriculum, and Edwin just invited everybody to join and join in on a empathy training online curriculum where it would be nice to have more people working on that. And then once the association has formed and we have a core team, then we can go further with task and maybe think of having a conference or raise some attention to ourselves, or publishing a joint paper or stuff like that, you know.
I'm agreeing that we probably are still in the formation stage, so connecting before directing becomes really important, so that we can connect and know who are the people who are wanting to move forward, and how to carry this shared vision forward. And then if there's a list of tasks, Edwin, if you could post them, people could choose which tasks they would like to join. That would be helpful for me.
In terms of the association and tasks related to creating that, I really appreciated hearing you speak, Raj, on that subject, specifically around having some common understanding what empathy is. I don't think we need to get too specific, but I do think we need to ground in a common understanding, and there's a sense of shared, here is why this organization exists, here's our shared purpose, here's our shared vision, some kind of statement that says who we are and why we exist and what we're here for. And so I think that will take some meeting and discussing, so that's a task that needs to be done.
We sort of started that at one of our meetings that Raj was at, and this is something maybe, Edwin, I know you're doing so many tasks and you're so good at it. But we started a mission. Lou made a mission statement. That was his task. And then Raj and I both went and did Google Doc additions, corrections, or whatever. And then it didn't go from there. And we also were going to have a vision statement and a listing of, what did you call those, Raj? Agreements.
Yeah.
Some kind of agreements. So those are three very, very specific things we can work on. Edwin, the problem I have is I don't know how to find that mission statement again. And when you send links, they're just links and they don't have names. Like I think there's a way you can, instead of sending out a link, you can make it into a name and the link is under that name. I don't know. Even in a Gmail. Somehow that might help me if the links had names instead of JPA and JP6. Or where's that mission statement? It seems like maybe you probably have this, and I just don't know how to find it. Maybe everything already.
Oh, everything links off of the association page. So if you go through the website, you'll see the links to it.
Okay, so what is the association page? Where is that? And it's going to be JPST. I don't like that. What's the link for the association page?
Well, Kathy, I think with the Google sites, it's always the thing that they don't really have domain names, buying a domain name, that costs money, and so hosting it with Google is for free, but you have the disadvantage of having the strange names.
I didn't mean a total domain name, but anyway, what is the link, Edward? Could you put it in our chat column here?
Yeah, I can bring that up.
I can also, isn't it like that, Edwin?
Okay.
Well, that has a name.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay. That helps. And then within that, we can have papers like mission statement, vision statement, agreements. 3 things we're working on.
And everybody can edit. We can add, the core team can have ability to edit the site too. So That kind of.
Okay, so a step would be people who wanted to work on the mission statement, the vision statement, and the agreements. We would make a little email group, and then you would get us onto that site as editors or something?
Correct, yep. The mission, there's a couple of documents. There's a Google Doc folder that's already open. That's where people have been writing in. So that part is already set up. I did actually register another domain name and gave it, I can't remember what it was. I think it's like Empathy Training, Empathy Trainers, Trainers, I think. I'm just trying to check that. I can't remember. It just is a shorter URL to.
And what was it? What is it?
Yeah, there it is. I just put empathytrainers.com. So that's like a simpler link to it. So it'll take you there to the website, and so just
I will work. I'll find a small group. I'll get together on email. We'll become a small group that will work with Edwin to work on a mission statement, a vision statement, and then some agreements, and then pass them in front of somebody. Okay, Roger's saying goodbye. Okay, well, I'll try to do that. Okay.
Okay. And if anybody else wants permissions to the site, just let me know, and you can go in and you can edit. It's pretty easy to set that up.
Kathy, I noticed there's a chat message here from Parth who's saying, I would love to join you.
Okay. Parth, can you give me your email address? Oh, you did it already. You're a really good listener. Next time we'll be able to hear you speak.
Okay, I've just added you, Kathy, and Parth to the website, so you should be able to go in and edit right now. And if anybody else wants to, just tell me. I can add you right now.
Yeah, please.
Okay, Raj would be
part in that.
Anyone else?
Yeah, me too.
Me too, Edwin.
That's Michael.
Michael. Okay, so Sasha and Michael, I just invited you, so you should be getting an email that invites you, and then you'll have permission. You can go in there and you can edit. It's just it's a Google Doc, and it's pretty simple to edit.
Yeah, me
and
too.
Edwin, would you add Raj and Lou to that, since they've already been working on that?
Oh yeah, Lou. Yes.
Lou and Raj
and Raj.
Miraya.
What is your email? Your Raj
She's left.
Oh, it's Raj. Raj Gill. I got it. Raj Gill.
Tell us with one L.
Yeah, that's right. I had that wrong last time. Raj Gill, and she also has others. She's at Prosperity Circles Coaching. Okay. All right. So she's been added.
I have a question for Salvador, who, if I understood correctly, you expressed an interest in having a way to speak Spanish like now within this association. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah, well, it's not necessarily not right now, but I would be interested, if it's possible, to get like a chapter, a Spanish-speaking people chapter within the association or something like that. So we produce materials in the Spanish, material in the Spanish.
It seems it would be good to have some people who are bilingual there who can get the information back and forth with us, because I know you have wonderful resources in the Spanish-speaking community that we should know about. So some links between. I guess you could be one of the links, and I'm sure there are others.
Yeah, I would love to all, but now first I would like to know what is going on here and see how will be way to to participate in this association, so I can invite other people, Spanish people, to join the association and share their experiences and resources.
Yes, I just want to acknowledge and just emphasize that need. If we're going to solve an international problem, we have to really keep conscious always of the people for whom English is not a primary language and think how we're going to get that to happen. So to just get that in our brains or put it in our mission statement somehow, that we are international and we respect other cultures and other languages, etc.
So we need Chinese and French and
German.
And German somehow. Somehow.
German. The trainers in Germany, they speak English, and but French would be important because large parts of Africa are speaking French, and Chinese obviously because it's 1/5 of the humankind. And I mean India is good because they mostly speak English. So probably with Spanish, French, and Chinese, we would be well equipped.
Yeah.
Maybe we
At
can
least to
get
keep that consciousness.
we can get what was her name, Kathy and Edwin Xiao from the University of who took part in the literature review teams. She is of a Chinese origin, isn't she?
Oh, the graduate student who's doing the.
Yes.
What is we haven't seen her lately.
Melissa.
What is her name, Edwin?
Melissa.
No, not Melissa. She's from Holland.
Earlier.
Oh, Schwan.
Schwan, yes.
Yeah, she's working on her PhD. She was going to be kind of tied up for a while. With that.
But again, we have resources. That's part of the wonder of collaborating. We can bring up the name of a Chinese-speaking person, and that's what's exciting. It's power to the empathizers.
And she will be our missionary to China.
Yeah, she already did a class. She's doing a week-long course on empathy, so she's definitely been digging into it.
And we forgot Russia, of course. Russia is also there and getting bigger and bigger. So, and I think these guys in Russia, they do need a lot of empathy. Same with the Arabic world. We don't.
Oh, Nupur says creating a best practices registry is a good idea. And Parth is saying, Kathy, we can also create an internship program which would enable us to get a grant. That would be an idea, is can we get grants? That's the other part is what can we do to, for raising funds, that we're all looking for training opportunities, so kind of the financial aspect. How do we get clients? How do we get grants and so forth? So kind of the financial aspect.
It does seem that some other cultures are better at that. It's really hard to do it in the United States. We are a country lacking in respect for empathy. But as Parth says, right now they can get a grant in India. And I know people in Ireland who have gotten grants to teach focusing in the schools. So let's not break our heads on the American model, which might be one of the more resistant, and get things going. Where India, there was a number of people who came on introduced themselves, all trying to get empathy into schools in India. Hey, let's support that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Here in Europe, it's also pretty easy to get a grant from the European Union. They are dishing out grants I mean, if you know how to do it, and I've just applied for a grant in a different capacity, so it's not sure that you get it, but then of course you have to register as a non-government organization first, and you will have to, because they don't give grants to private individuals. They only give grants to non-government organizations working for the common good.
Well, could IETA be not like an organization like that we could funnel grants. For example, my Joan, she's a nurse and does infectious disease. So they have an infectious disease association, nursing association, and they actually do contracts. She's worked through them to get contracts for work. You know, so it acts as an association, and it could maybe get grants, kind of funnel job. What do you call it? Be kind of a, I don't know what the word is. Vermittler. What's vermittler term? Can't think of the English word.
You mean broker?
Broker.
No.
Yeah, a broker. That's it, or whatever. It's that kind of intermediary. So that is that whole work-related thing. Like I don't know. That's something I'd really like to talk about too. Is like what can we do to, you know, for income generation, kind of personally and as an association.
Well, I think maybe it's before we yeah, I mean part is also picking up the point that we should, maybe we can individually research in the possibility of creating, how can we become an international NGO, you know? How is this possible? Is it even possible to become an international organization? Probably not. Probably you will have to have different chapters in each in each country. But still, we can have an umbrella organization, and which gives, as Michael was always pointing out, who has a guideline, who has a mission, and then we can break that down in individual country chapters.
I'll just read here that Parth said, Sasha brings up a great point. We would need to either create an association or develop programs with an existing association. And he says to Kathy, it may be useful to create a list of ally organizations and create programs, etc.
Mm-hmm. I am not the best at that kind of thing, grant writing. I'm just saying. I'll try to work on getting the mission statement, the vision statement, and the agreements, but someone else, I hope, has these grant writing skills. And doesn't feel overwhelmed by that part of life, let's say.
I am curious, of the people here, like when we start doing these empathy in the school design projects, is anybody interested in attending some of those design meetings? It'd be 3 hours. We would try to get educators involved. We already have educators. Live Different, they have 3 staff members. They have a group of 5 schools that want to take on empathy and character education. So they're doing a pilot project, I guess, in a district with 5 schools. So I think 3 of those members are in 3 of those people are in the first design group, and then they also said they have a list of about 100. Getting a bit of an echo, but they have a list of 100 consultants, educator consultants. So what I was thinking, I mean, this is a little bit different, but IETA could be a sponsor of this, is that, we connect with Start Empathy, with Roots of Empathy, with Live Different, and we do a series of these design meetings, towards building school cultures, and something could kind of come out there. So anybody interested in taking part in those, if the times work for you?
These would be the, go ahead. Oh, Sasha.
I would, thank you, Kathy. I would definitely be interested, because that's another very important point that we have discussed here in Berlin a lot of times, that empathy development and character development is really a thing that should go hand in hand. Now, character development, that is really a very, it's a very intimate thing to do, basically, and I know this from my own monistic traditions and from Buddhist traditions, that character development is really an integral part. And I think that's highly interesting, because equipping people with empathic skills and not taking care that they also are of good character, you can also create a monster that reads people like an open book and exploits them by using empathic skills. So character training is something that really has gone into oblivion nowadays. But it's more important than ever to actually work on a character, to have the idea that, you know, we can all improve our character and become a diamond person, a golden person in a way.
Okay, so what I was it says Par says sure. Is there an opportunity to participate in those workshops virtually? They will be virtual, so we're going to be starting doing these. In fact, first week of July we're looking at one meeting, and then we have the next meeting already, I think, full on the 28th. So I want to set up a series of those. So, Kathy, are you interested in those? Let me just check. Or it might be too much.
Probably, but I'm leaving for Holland on July 6th. So it depends on when that first one is. You and I can talk about that. Why do I have a big echo all of a sudden?
It's Salvador. I think we're getting an echo. Yeah, that helps.
So you and I can talk about that.
Okay.
I was going to say something. Oh, about character development that Sasha was mentioning. If we had more time, I would ask you to say more about what you mean by character, because I think it's a word with a lot of meaning for you, so it would be good to hear that. But it also brings me back to saying that self-empathy training is the handmaiden of empathy training. The method I use for that is Gendlin's focusing, but I think nonviolent communication has some of that. Mindfulness, that whole side of self-awareness, I guess, would be one way of building character, or I don't know. You'd have to say more what you mean by character, but that's the other side. I think we're together that there's this other side. You don't just teach empathic listening skills, but you teach self-awareness, self-empathy. Is that get it at all, Sasha, for you? Your mic is off.
Let me just read. Nupur says, as we are thinking of developing standards of practice, something else to consider is developing empathy expert consensus statements to provide guidance, recommendations, including protocols that practitioners can use while developing programs, practices, or policies for their settings. And Parth says to Kathy, my experience with landmark education for the past decade completely resonates with your point, and I agree.
The point, I guess, being that self-empathy, self-awareness is half of the pie, is an equal part of the process.
Okay. I think that's huge. I mean, in feeling into one's own experience, you know, that's the model that we're talking about, the definition of empathy that Sasha and Dorothy and I have been talking about, is seeing the system of empathy, and then there's different components. There's the self-empathy, there's the empathy between us and between all others. So it's this whole field of empathy, and there's different things that not only do we empathize, but the empathizee can do things to deepen the connection. I see Michael is saying goodbye. We're coming up to the end of our time here, so
that was actually, those are my sparkle fingers. When I do
sparkle.
When I resonate with what somebody is saying. That's my way of saying yes. I agree.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I figured that, Michael, since I saw you do that a couple of times, and and then I decoded your message, and I think it's quite nice.
Great. Yeah, I like it, and I invite other people to use it too, because I think sometimes in these video conferences it's hard to know if what we're saying is resonating or landing with people, and so that's just a little visual way.
So that's it? Is that what it looks like?
Yeah, like, you know, a little sparkle, you know, a little wiggle to your fingers.
Okay.
Makes it nice.
Is anybody else getting a whole lot of static now, or is it just me?
I'm fine.
Anybody else getting static?
I'm not.
Okay, I don't know what to do. Maybe reduce my broadband.
Your voice is really great, really clear, Kathy.
Yeah.
I'm clear?
Very clear. We're here.
You guys are all full of static, but if it's just my problem, proceed. We need to kind of be coming to an end anyway, so.
Nupur is virtually wiggling fingers in solidarity.
Awesome.
We'll do that.
I think you've started a new trend here. I like it too. Okay, well we're on the 2-hour mark. I don't want to keep us over because I can keep going, but I want to respect everyone's time. I am thinking of setting up meetings every week though for a little while to get the ball rolling, so we can have space for more people. Does that? Any thought on that, real quick, and then.
I think that's a great idea, and maybe not everybody can come every week, but I think, Edwin, you have been and probably continue to be a great through line, and you're here every time to practically all of these meetings, or if not all of these meetings. So I feel confident that we're not going to lose any really important pieces by having such a difference of people showing up. So I support the idea.
Okay. Paris says, Edwin, you're the man. You've been doing this even before these meetings. Thanks.
I'm happy to take part as often as I can in these Wednesday meetings. Now I have to keep in mind a bit that we are meeting every Monday already, and so I have to see how I can work this into my schedule. But it has been really inspiring for me with all these different people, and maybe we even need to switch from Google to a different platform where 20 or 100 people can meet at the same time and form subgroups. Edwin, we have been talking about that there's a company offering a platform like that, and that we wanted to approach them if they can provide it for free for us, because we are a good cause, and good causes should be supported.
Do you want to check? It was Maestro. Would you be willing to check on that?
Yeah, I will do so.
I would also encourage us to look at Zoom. I think that is a really great platform that is coming up strong right now.
It is, but Maestro, Michael, you can host almost unlimited people on Maestro, and you can form subgroups. So
I think you can do all that with Zoom as well.
Oh, you can. Well, I mean, if you have connections to Zoom, maybe we can all branch out and try to get a plan with either one of these. Edwin got a really nice plan with these online design companies.
Murally.
Sorry?
Murally.
Mural. Yes, you got a very nice mural plan for free, and maybe we can branch out and try to get a plan like that from Zoom.
Okay.
After all, we are an NGO in the forming for the salvation of mankind, so to speak. So.
Great. Well, I'll reach out to Zoom. I'll send an email to somebody there.
Okay. I did want to read. Parth said maybe we take 5 minutes at the end to share acknowledgments. Maybe each person takes 30 seconds to share, so doing a round of acknowledgments. And would participants be willing to donate towards tools? I'm not sure what tools, what that means, Parth. But
sharing part, do you mean sharing tools like
I think those are two statements. If we all pitch in a few bucks, things like that we could actually buy Maestro, buy an account with Maestro. I see. That would be another approach. That besides getting it free, if they don't give it to us free, that we could pitch in and have like a group account with Maestro. So that's like another option that everybody could use it. It's an idea.
I'm going to be switching over to Zoom anyway in my business, but not until November. So if it doesn't work out that anyone wants to give us one for free, I'd be willing to offer my personal account for use if that worked out.
Okay, and Parth says Zoom is a great tool, and I know someone who has a Plus account, and it's great.
Okay. I will also have a look at Zoom. I've been using WebEx from Cisco, but I will have a look at Zoom.
Cool.
Okay, shall we close? I think that was a good idea. I mean, that excited me. That just quick acknowledgments. Everyone shares acknowledgments. And if you, Nupur and Parth, write it in your any acknowledgments, I can read it, or one of us can read it. Do we get sparkles for just acknowledgments?
I can actually hear again. I had to get out of the call and come back, but that's my problems. So anybody have problems, sometimes just check out and check back in again. I'm going to acknowledge it was so heartening for me to have so many people acknowledge that self-empathy training has equal importance. That has been a life issue for me in various organizations. You either get empathy or you get self-empathy, and for me it is just so essential. And I just appreciate that so many of you validated that, so I'm not alone anymore.
I want to appreciate some of the things that we talked about today that I think were reassuring for me. The idea of creating some kind of ground rules, or like not getting so stuck up in these ideas of like rules and certification, but using softer language that achieves the same end of credibility, but in a way where it's maybe more inclusive and voluntary, rather than this idea of like codifying really strict ways of doing this. So I'd like to hear that. I just want to appreciate that.
I have the feeling that we are moving forward, and I feel very grateful to be sharing with you. I have many questions and doubts, but I feel confident that everything will be getting clear in the next meeting. Thank you.
You came to me in the first place because I would like to acknowledge all the nice energy towards empathy that is coming from the different parts here, the different channels and the different ideas, and I can really it really feels like Edwin, you have struck a chord here that I mean. Calling it International Empathy Train Association really has struck a chord with people, and I'm very excited to see all this resonance all over the world. That really is very nice, and I hope that we can surf on that wave and really build something out of that.
Well, I'll go. I feel like this warmth kind of building. It's like this sense of presence. You know, when people show up on a regular basis, I feel like there's a kind of a foundation, a depth being formed, and it's very touching to me. I feel, this is beautiful. A little tearful almost. It's like, the beauty of the connections and the camaraderie. So I'm very grateful for that feeling and building on that.
Sparkles for being touched, moved to tears. I'm big on that.
And I'll read Nupur. She says, thank you so much for letting me participate and sit in today. I appreciate the energy, the expertise in the group, and the concrete resources shared. I feel inspired, humbled, and excited to continue doing this work. So real sparkles for that. Then Parth says, I would really like to acknowledge the space for empathy on this group. For me, empathy is a bi-directional process. I really appreciate the mirroring of sharing, where the interviewer ensured that the interviewee felt heard and seen. I also want to acknowledge that despite technology breakdown, we flowed like water and were present versus getting stuck. I I like to really thank Edwin for bringing all us together and acknowledge all of you for joining from so many different parts of the world. We are empaths, empathy stewards, and international. And you are all beautiful with such deep wisdom, and I'm humbled and excited to be co-creating with you. So thank you for that. Wow.
Empathy stewards, that really is a very nice term part.
I've got to sign off. I've got a client coming, but I just want to thank everybody for being here today. It was lovely to be with you all and share these ideas. See you next time.
Okay, I just want to get Stefan. Thanks, Michael, speaking
Thanks,
soon.
Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye, Michael. Nice to meet you.
Bye, Michael.
Bye, Michael.
Stefan?
Yeah, there's so much already been said. I can resonate with them, but I'm excited that I might, or I'm seeing points as well where I might be able to contribute as well, and seeing and hoping, that it will be a resource that I can tap into and meet people and see the different angles as well, and I really enjoy that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And with that, I'll